If you're waking up in the morning after 7 to 8 hours of sleep, regardless of what your phone tells you or your app tells you, if you're not feeling well rested, if you're not feeling like you slept well enough, and that's happening consistently, then I think it's time to see a sleep doctor.
This is your host, Preetpal, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Shilpa Pandey. She's joining us from Orlando. Dr. Shilpa, why don't you take a few seconds and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Shilpa Pandey. I am a pediatric pulmonary and sleep doctor. I have my private practice in Orlando, Florida. I'm also boarded in general pediatrics and obesity medicine.
Wow. So that's a very checkered uh, resume. So, Dr. Shilpa, tell us what piqued your interest in sleep? What sleep got to do with all of this?
Well, sleep definitely affects our health overall. And when I was practicing in general pediatrics and pediatric pulmonary, felt that there was a shortage, a need for sleep. And so I went back to fellowship and trained in obesity and sleep. And now I see pediatric patients and adults for sleep issues because I think that's rampant and it's affecting a lot of people.
Wow. So let's start from the very beginning. Uh, is sleep the most underrated phenomenon? Is it the most uh, least understood phenomenon? Is it the most neglected phenomenon by human beings?
On the contrary, I think everyone is always complaining about their sleep or thinking about their sleep. But I think that they just don't have the right ideas about what sleep should be. Um, Meaning that on all dinner conversations, on all, friend conversations, people are always, commenting underhand like, oh, I didn't sleep very well last night. I was worried about my lecture coming up or my talk coming up, or maybe I didn't sleep very night. I'm very excited about I'm getting married and I just don't have the time. I have so much to do. I don't have the time. And so the first thing when we're busy, the first thing that people tend to cut off is sleep because it's like I'm so busy. I have so much to do. I can sleep 4 hours less and get more done, and that catches up to you, and then it becomes this cycle. And yeah, so I think sleep is really important. It's very easily sacrificed, and then it definitely takes a toll on you.
Right. I think as a subject who has the same sort of perspective or attitude about sleep which you just described, I wanted to ask you that we know very little about sleep. Unlike the amount of research we do on macros and micronutrients which go into human body and heart rate zones when you're exercising, and how it is important to be in zone 2 when you're working out to lose fat and this and that. We don't talk like that about sleep at all, right? We don't try to educate ourselves at that lower level about the science of sleep.
Yes, and I think that is one of the reasons why I chose to become a specialist in it, because you're right, sleep has not taken the stage for a while, and it's about time that it did. It is starting to come out. Many different societies are recognizing sleep as affecting different health. Like recently, American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology recognized that sleep should be evaluated in pregnant um, ladies because it does affect their pregnancy and the health of the baby. And then also cardiology, they came out with new guidelines where patients who have heart failure or high blood pressure should be looking into, we should be evaluating their sleep. And diabetes, definitely, that is one thing that is known. Weight loss and diabetes, sleep should be evaluated.
So, Dr. Shilpa, that is interesting. Can you describe for the audience what happens when you do not get adequate sleep? And please also take a few seconds to describe what adequate sleep means, right? Is it about consistency over a period of 365 days, or is it over a week or daily, or what is it? So please take a moment to describe us that as well.
Okay, so let me start there. Let me start about talking about what is recommended sleep. So there is actually numbers of hours of sleep which have been studied, and we know that children require more sleep than adults. So for adults, we are recommending about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and studies have shown that sleep which is shorter than that, so somebody who sleeps less than 7 to 8 hours, or somebody who sleeps more than 7 to 8 hours, most people will have health consequences from that too. So sleeping too much is not good. Sleeping too little is not good in a long period of time. There is tables that you can actually search by National Sleep Foundation to tell you exactly how many hours of sleep you need by age. On a ballpark, about a newborn will need about 14 to 17 hours, teenager about 8 to 10, and then, as an adult, 7 to 8. So that's how much sleep we need.
Okay. And what happens if you do not get the sleep?
So it definitely affects our functioning. A lot of restorative things happen in your brain when you're sleeping. And if you're not sleeping enough or not sleeping soundfully, then you start having these health consequences and these different it starts affecting your functioning during the day. For example, you may become more forgetful. You definitely are at increased risk of accidents because you're forgetful or your difficulty focusing. School children may start falling asleep in class. Their academics may start falling, or they may start having and some of them may actually become very hyper because they have something called a second wind. So if they're not sleeping adequately or sleeping on time, they actually become more hyper as they become more tired. And so sometimes they can be misdiagnosed as ADHD or ADD.
Wow. Okay. So sleep is, I mean, the way I understood it all as well was, a sleep is a state of paralysis for sort of the human body below the neck, right? So basically, sleep is divided into four stages, which we talk about, and one of the stage has to do with transfer of memories, right? Long term memories to long term this thing, and so that, aka dreaming, right? So when you're dreaming, there's a transfer of something. I'm looking for more information, scientific information from you as to what happens in that sense, and how the body below the neck is paralyzed, so that you don't take reactionary actions towards doing that. So does all of that get affected when you don't have adequate amount of sleep?
Right. So, yes, we have sleep cycles. I think that's what you're talking about, which are about 90 to 120 minutes. We go through these sleep cycles, a couple of these sleep cycles during a sleep phase, meaning like if you're sleeping one night, you're definitely going through all of these cycles a couple of times during that night. We have non-REM sleep and REM sleep, and the non-REM sleep is divided into three phases, N1, N2, and 3, and then there is the REM stage. The REM stage is what you were pertaining to, which is what we call our dream state. And yes, during our dream state, our motor muscles are, for the most part, most motor muscles, except like for respiratory muscles and some other muscles, are paralyzed. And that's a protective mechanism because we don't want individuals to be acting out their dreams when they are dreaming. That would be not nice. But we don't stay in that stage the whole time. So we have stages, N1, N2, and 3, where your motor muscles are not paralyzed, and then in the dream state it is. So
Okay. So my perspective on sleep also is that it cannot be treated like a monolith. It can't be treated like how many hours you slept, right? For example, when I go to bed and I notice my deep sleep is a relatively short number, say 30 minutes of the entire 7 hours, right? I wake up and I ask myself, how did I feel about it? Like how did I do I feel rested? Do I feel satisfied? Do I feel at ease? And often the answer is no, right? So can you also comment on some of the other aspects of sleep as quantity, as length, versus sleep as quality, which is the various broken down aspects of it.
Yeah, I think this is becoming a very common observation by most people because they're wearing these smart watches that is claiming to tell you your sleep patterns. And then we have patients coming in saying that, I slept for, I think there's a problem with me because I slept for 8 hours, but my watch tells me my deep sleep was only 1.5. But as I was saying, we're supposed to go through these different sleep stages, and it depends on which stage your phone is or your app is calling deep stage. It could be N3 or it could be REM. But normally, we are supposed to be in these stages for a certain period of time. So you're only supposed to be in REM for normal between 18 to 23, 25% is what we want to be. We don't want more REM than that. We don't want less REM than that. So I think one of the things that I would say is don't concentrate too much on the numbers which your apps are giving you. These are not FDA approved devices. So it's supposed to give you an idea of how your sleep is going, and but don't like start thinking that there's something pathologic wrong with you because that is showing lower numbers.
Mhm.
As far as is it good enough for you, I think a lot of it is how you feel. If you're waking up in the morning after 7 to 8 hours of sleep, regardless of what your phone tells you or your app tells you, if you're not feeling well rested, if you're not feeling like you slept well enough, and that's happening consistently, then I think it's time to see a sleep doctor.
Okay. Uh, that's very, very insightful, because the audience out there relies a lot on the smart apps, the Whoops and the Apple Watches and the Samsung Watches to actually track their sleep. And sleep is becoming almost a very important phenomenon. People are worried about the science behind the sleep, right? Actually, that's very surreal for you to say, Dr. Shilpa, that hey, don't calm down, don't over engineer this thing. While it has a lot of science, it doesn't require that level of treatment. Keep it simple and easy so that you can also understand and not boggle your mind.
Right. I
Okay.
mean, listen to your body. I think listen to your body is what I'm trying to say. If your app is telling you you're getting good enough sleep, but you're waking up feeling tired or you're feeling like you just can't focus, then you should look into it, regardless of what your app is telling you. But I would say take it into perspective.